Hello and welcome to Norwood News. Today is Friday, January 26th. I'm Kiki Thaxter.
And I'm Brian Boudreau. It's great to have you with us as we end another week here in Norwood.
This week on Norwood News, Register of Deeds Bill O'Donnell updates on the 2023 annual real estate activity. We learn about the residential tax hike from Tim McDonough. But first, over the past several years, the topic of mental health has slowly become a more comfortable conversation. And people like Helena Eldoihi have made that more possible with her social media page, Thoughts with H.
Who is Thoughts with H? Or what is Thoughts with H? Good question. I would say that Thoughts with H herself is more of like an anonymous type of person that just has a goal of spreading a message. And I think that in a world that things are so cruel and kind of not nice and mental health is not as normalized to talk about, my goal is to normalize people to talk about mental health. And that's who Thoughts with H started off as, and someone who would just share post-it notes and sticky notes with a quote of the day that was more inspirational and to spread kindness. So I think Thoughts with H is someone who just wants to spread a kind message. Thoughts with H came to be first on Snapchat, where I actually was working at a dentist's office and it was like bad vibes around. So I felt like I should put up a quote of the day and kind of just start with spreading that energy. And I got such great feedback that I started to like put it on my Snapchat story. And eventually my friends would just be like, hey, like really love your quotes, but they like go away within 24 hours. So Instagram was somewhat fairly new. Our generation, sounds old, but our generation was like somewhat newish to Instagram as well. So I started an Instagram page for it. And I decided to keep it anonymous based for the fact that to talk about mental health, I wanted to just normalize the fact that these are topics and conversations that are hard to talk about, but doesn't necessarily mean that we shouldn't talk about them. So that's how Thoughts with H started, first on Snapchat, then branched out to Instagram. The inspiration behind creating it, I would say, if we stick to the time of social media where everybody was kind of focusing on putting themselves out there, and I noticed that that's not the best for mental health, and I wanted to just continue, and psychology was the field I was going into for college, and how can I spread my message and have it still be involved with what I want to do in my future. It's kind of how I thought about it. So I felt like spreading a message on Instagram anonymously and not putting my face behind it provided a better energy, because you didn't have to support me, you were supporting the words. And I wanted people to feel like it was a safe space and a comfortable platform where there was no judgments and just pure kindness. So at the end of the day, I feel like we can't help everybody, but everybody can help somebody. So I think that by spreading a message, sometimes I don't know if it reaches people, and sometimes I don't know if people relate to it, but if it's just one person that reads that for that one day, and what keeps me going is the fact that people send these kind messages, and sometimes I don't realize that people do actually benefit from them and enjoy these quotes. So I think to see that they make a difference and make people feel good just influences me to want to branch out and continue it, which is why I started my calendars, because I think that it's hard throughout the year to maintain inspiration and motivation, and especially like post-COVID, I think that a lot of people went through mental health battles, whether they lost people or went through things personally. So I think my calendars go for any age, any person. They are just meant to just help you be on path for a better day. It supports a good cause, spreads a good message, and that's my goal, is to continue growing that. For the most part, I allow myself to find the backgrounds naturally and based on that, I try to also not post things that I go through, so not make it personal. So I try to make it like a general thing that I'm posting about. And I just pick a good moment. It just comes from the heart, honestly. It's just like when that post feels right to post. But for the most part, I like to find clouds and sunsets. Those are my main two backgrounds. Thoughts with H, when she started, is definitely a different person than who she is now. I think that Thoughts with H back then was just somebody just trying to spread a kind message and just putting some positive words out there. Thoughts with H now is someone who does this all day long, where I am a full-time therapist and I try to spread what I preach to not only in my daily life but also with my clients. And also, if it shows anybody anything, it's that even the person behind the quotes can also go through things too. So it's mental health is something that this field is growing, and I just want to normalize the fact that everybody goes through something. And if everybody's main goal is to be happy, that if I can just help one person along the way, that's really all I need. I would say when you ask about what my goals would be too with Thoughts with H, it's so much more than what it is just now. I broaden everything I do, and whether that's help out more teens with anxiety and depression, whether it's in schools or setting up pop-ups and events where we can just provide people with the tools and skills that they need to deal with anxiety and depression and everyday mental battles, that's my goal. So Thoughts with H technically started in this exact studio before I even knew it, where I was doing the morning news in high school. And I was someone who enjoyed being in front of the camera, but fast forward that, I fell in love with being behind the camera. And here comes my page where I found a way to be behind the camera, include photography and motivation, positivity, but yet so much not put the pressure on it being on me. And for that, I found great rewards in, and I think it just made me feel really good to spread a good vibe and make people feel good without it just being me. So am I ready to put who H is out there? No, but I think in this world that it's not a secret and I have to be ready for it. So I'm Helena El-Dwehi and I'm Thoughts with H.
Helena happens to be a really good friend of mine, and I just want to thank you, Helena, so much for sitting down with me and talking about Thoughts with H.
No, and you did a great job on that story. It came out excellent. And mental health is so important.
For sure.
Norfolk County Register of Deeds Bill O'Donnell visited the studio this week to recap the real estate market and the documents that were recorded at the registry during 2023.
Hello, my name is Bill O'Donnell. I'm the Norfolk County Register of Deeds and a resident here in Norwood. I'm here to update some of the things that have gone on at the Registry of Deeds in 2023. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone that donated to the annual food drive that we do at the Registry of Deeds. And as we point out, there's a need all year long. So if you go to our website, www.norfolkdeeds.org, we have a list of all the food pantries in all 28 communities in Norfolk County, and certainly please keep in mind the Norwood Food Pantry. I'd also like to thank, and it was a very successful Toys for Tots drive. We've been doing this for decades in conjunction with the United States Marines. We thank the Marines for their service to their country, and also a big thank you to all the residents and people that came by to help that worthy cause. At the Registry of Deeds, that's where documents get recorded. Again, people are facing challenges. 2023 was a challenging year in the real estate economy, and it was seen at the Registry of Deeds. Document volume countywide in 2022 was over 130,000 documents, and there was only 102,000 documents recorded. And we saw a similar trend in Norwood, although interestingly, document volume countywide was down 21%, but in Norwood only 19%. So Norwood did better than the county average. And what were some of the causes? Well, first of all, the interest rates. Interest rates at the beginning of 2023 were around 6% and creeped up to over 8% in 2023. This posed a real challenge, especially for first-time home buyers, because it added significant cost to someone that was trying to buy a house. A lot of the lack of robust economy also has to do with the lack of inventory. And a lot of sellers didn't put their houses on the market because they didn't want to deal with the higher interest rates. They might have to sell their house and then buy another house at a high interest rate. And anytime you have a high interest rate, it has an effect on mortgages, and the mortgage volume at the Registry of Deeds went down countywide as well as in Norwood. It was a challenging year at the registry. If you go to our website, some people, and again, Norwood bucked the trend, the notices to foreclose, which is the first sign of a foreclosure. Actually, there was only 3 in Norwood all year, as opposed to other communities in Norfolk County. There were significant increases in notices to foreclose. But if you know someone in that situation, go to our website, www.norfolkdeeds.org. We have partnered up with Neighbor Works Housing Solutions and Quincy Community Action Program. Both nonprofit groups have committed to help residents in Norwood and residents in all 28 communities. You may want to reach out. They give you guidance as far as credit card debt and just ways to manage situations. Especially, you should contact them if you have received a notice to foreclose, which is the first part of the foreclosure process. It's a court case. When the lenders file in court, they have to file a notice to foreclose. And so you shouldn't wait till you're further into the process. Get some help in that legal process through those nonprofit agencies. And also, if you go to our website, there are resources available through the Massachusetts Attorney General's office. If anyone wants to look up information, our documents are back to 1793. People look them up for real estate research. People look up to see if their mortgages that have been paid off, if the discharges are recorded. And more people are doing genealogical research. I want to especially thank, in 2023, I was at the Norwood Senior Center, and thank Kerry McCarthy and the great staff you have at the Norwood Senior Center. They had us speak and bring our computers so people could get copies of documents and copies of their deeds. And I also want to thank, and it's a great reflection on Norwood, the Norwood Madrigals. On November 8th of this past year, there was a veterans event. Again, we thank all veterans for their service. And the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, he's the first time it's been given a cabinet status in Massachusetts government. So the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, John Santiago, came and spoke. There was a Norwood feel to it. Not only did the Madrigals sing, and thank you, Jennifer Hartnett, and thank you to all the students. They just did a great job, and again, a great reflection on the town of Norwood. But our own Norwood's veterans agent, Ted Mulvihill, assisted in posted colors, and it was just a nice ceremony. And if anyone wants the veterans book that we put together, similar to the book that we did for the Norwood 150th, we did a book about veterans and their stories here in Norfolk County. Feel free to contact me directly at registerodonnell@norfolkdeeds.org. Again, thanks to Norwood Community Media for facilitating this segment. It's great to have outreach, and when you think about it, the biggest asset most of us have is our homes, and the Registry of Deeds deals with that. So feel free to contact us or call directly our customer service center at 1-781-461-6101. Thank you very much.
When Norwood News returns, we'll let you know what Norwood Police did for the town in the year 2023. We'll learn about the residential tax hike, and Ron Marshalsea has the latest in sports.
It is a beautiful day at Restorative Massages and Wellness in Norwood. We're proud today to offer a new service that we offer, and also the skincare facial. We will have an open house on February 4th at 3 to 7 p.m. We ask everyone to come in to join us. There will be like refreshment, and also that a free giveaway served with the skincare, and also that there will be a mini facial. First come, first serve. We're asking you to look at our website, and we're looking forward to see you soon.
In the year of 2023, the Norwood Police Department worked hard to keep the town of Norwood safe. For the year of 2023, the Norwood Police have put together a year-end report for all the calls of service in the community. A total of 41,591 log events were reported. Almost 5,000 motor vehicle violations were charged, 255 reports of larceny and fraud, 450 arrests, and over 4,000 foot patrols. We want to thank the Norwood Police for their efforts in protecting the town of Norwood and its citizens.
You know, those seem like a lot of numbers, but in fact, it's actually pretty quiet.
That's true, it is.
With the override payment for the new middle school kicking in this year and high property valuations, property owners of Norwood might feel a bit of a sting on their tax bills this year. Chairman of the Norwood Board of Assessors, Tim McDonough, explains the jump.
Yeah, I mean, there's some misnomers on how we came at, arrive at the tax rate and the tax bills that people just got, which I know a lot of people are upset about and alarmed. A lot of it goes back to, 2.5, Proposition 2.5, which came in long before my tenure. Proposition 2.5 came along after a lot of taxpayers were upset about towns just spending without any checks and balances. So Proposition 2.5 said that the levy, which is the amount of money that has to be raised by taxation, could not go above 2.5% each year. So that's what 2.5% is. So now you have your levy, which is, there's the element of the levy, there's part of it that is fees that are generated throughout the year, whether it's building permit fees, we have state aid, cherry sheets, that's all aid that comes in, as well as building permit fees, like I said, any kind of traffic violations, motor vehicle excise comes in. Those are all pluses. To offset what we call the levy is the amount of money that has to be raised by taxation. And that consists of 2.5%, which we are the maximum we can go by law. So every year taxes go up 2.5%. So on a normal year, it's usually 2.5% plus new growth. The only difference is if there's an override, and that's where the big jump was this year. That a couple of years ago, the citizens saw a need for a new middle school. And as noted earlier, the two big years are when the overrides are in and when the board has decided to keep the tax tip at the same level. It's only increased when they go off of that average, what they have gone. And this year, those options before the board to go up to, we've given the 65% to 75% for the board's consideration. That $8 million, that the big jump this year, that everybody felt the sting. Next year, that's going to be the base. So you're not going to see another $8 million jump because it's already built into the levy. So it should get back to the 2.5% in the growth. I know people don't want to hear that, but it will eventually go away. But
Seems like a really stressful time to try to buy property here in Norwood.
Yeah, no, it does seem tough, and it's kind of funny. It'll lead us right into our next story. To help combat some of that stress and the aches and pains of the winter months, we can return to Restorative Massage and Wellness, located right here in Norwood Center. Everyday stress can take its toll on your body. Looking for a way to let it all slide away? Well, look no further than Restorative Massage and Wellness, located at 714 Washington Street in Norwood Center. Offering an array of services, owner Isaac Massey is ready to help you get restored.
My name is Isaac, and I am the owner at Restorative Massages and Wellness. My background as I was working as a nursing assistant back in 2005, and I get pulled out and trained by physical therapists and occupational therapists as a restorative aide. This is where the name of the business comes from.
Using his knowledge in occupational therapy, Isaac furthered his education and became a licensed massage therapist.
And I was working side by side with physical therapists and occupational therapists. And at the end, then I decided to become a massage therapist right now. So my background, my training with PT and OT lead me to a point that being successful as a massage therapist, especially when it's come to sports massage.
While Restorative Massage has been in Norwood for some time now, they are offering new services at their Washington Street location.
So now we have some new service that we add on. As you can see, we have images that we add on for skincare. We do skincare, facial, waxes, and and massage. But one of the most important things that we add right now is the spa day services that client comes in, they get a massage in the same room, and then they get the facial at the same time, as well as couples and single. The couples massage is one of the signature that we have, and also that's very important to us. That I can say it around. We do the same room, and the room is very big and special for the client to be in the same room side by side. And we have two therapists that especially like trained to be in the room to provide a couples massage with them.
Isaac is passionate about his business and works along with his team to meet each client's needs.
And I think that I enjoy doing what I'm doing, and also that I remember when I was working at Harvard University, so after I left and come here and open up this place, and within a space of like 4 years, this is where we are right now. I think that I enjoy doing it, and I feel like every client that walked through the door after they leave, they're very happy with the service.
To learn more about Restorative Massage and Wellness, you can visit their website at www.restorativemassages.com, give them a call, or just walk in.
I started in Norwood in 2015, and I was working at 532 Washington Street, and we opened up the location. I've been very supportive, and I can say we grow a lot. I can't say enough about the town, and I've been very successful, and also that supporting throughout the COVID with the help and that we get from the town.
And you know, not to scratch my own back or anything, but that was a fun package to work on, and it does seem like it would actually help.
For sure. That's on my to-do list, to get a massage. Now we're going to send it over to Jordan Robinson with the school news.
I'm Jordan Robinson. Let's take a look at some activities happening in our Norwood schools this week. In Norwood High School news, the Visual Arts Department held an art show of photography at the Day House. There were over 50 pieces of artwork displayed through the beautiful historic home. F. Hollanday was a lifelong resident of Norwood and a pioneer of American fine art photography. It was a great opportunity for the public to see a wide variety of student work, as well as a piece of Norwood history. School lunch is always a favorite part of the day. You get to take a break from school and hang out with your friends. Let's head to the CAF at the Coakley Middle School. The Balch School is in desperate need of a group of dedicated 5th grade parents who will head up and volunteer for the 5th grade committee. Due to lack of response, they are already behind on fundraising for the graduating class and may have to limit activities and celebratory gifts this year. Please reach out to the Balch PTO if you are willing to serve on and especially lead this important group. At the Callahan School, students in Miss Ryan's 4th grade class were in the hallways on a scavenger hunt looking for task cards. Ready with their clipboards and pencils, each task card had a problem that the students had to complete and solve. This math lesson includes 24 task cards to help students practice adding and subtracting fractions. Students will use these task cards to practice this concept in a variety of different ways. Little Mustangs Preschool is supported by some awesome specialists, Miss Michelle and Miss Katie, the speech-language pathologists, and Miss Lauren and Miss Sam, the occupational therapists, and Miss Shauna, the physical therapist. The therapists develop skill-based lessons to share in classrooms for all learners to gain from. This week, Miss Michelle played a snowman game in many of the classrooms. Friends had to make a match by listening to each other's snowman description, which included counting, color, and shape ID. The lessons are supported with visuals and models for all learners to participate together. The therapists also work with individual or smaller groups to target areas of development, preview materials, and reinforce learning. Together with the teaching staff, whole child learning is happening every day at LMPA. That's it for school news this week. We appreciate all the teachers who take their time to share their news with us. It helps provide us with an inside look at what's happening in our classrooms. Now, let's go to Ron Marshalsea with the latest in sports news.
I'm Ron Marshalsea, and this is your sports update. The girls' basketball team went up against Bishop Feion, Dedham, and Dover Sherburne this past week. The Mustangs didn't get the win against Bishop Feion or DS, but they took down the Marauders 58-36. In the win against Dedham, Ari Blake dropped 16 points, Lily Cordani scored 9, and Lauren Reen got the game ball for setting the tone early in the game. The 8-4 Mustangs will be hosting Medway this Friday the 26th, tip-off at 6 o'clock. The boys basketball team is now on a 5-game winning streak, beating Dedham 66-34, Norton 54-44, and Dover Sherburne 69-44. The 9-3 Mustangs are traveling to Medway this Friday the 26th at 6:30. The girls hockey team went to Franklin on Wednesday night and came out with the win 3-1. Goals were scored by Michaela Brown, Molly Roach, and Emily Spadorcia, and Daniela Paris was a rock on defense. The team is now 5-7 and will be hosting Dedham on Saturday the 27th at 4 o'clock. The boys hockey team faced off against Norton last Saturday and got the win 6-2. Andrew Gillis and TJ Martin scored 2 apiece, and Nick Berard-Nelly and Jacob Sheehan scored 1 each. The boys are now 7-1-1 and are heading to Medway on Saturday the 27th at 4:30. The gymnastics team hosted Medway last Friday night but did not get the win. They get a rematch against the team they lost to earlier in the season, Medfield, on Thursday the 25th at 7:30. This past Monday, the swim and dive teams won the Nor Cup against Norwell 95-77. The next night, the team took on Hopkinton but didn't get wins. The TVL Swim and Dive Showcase at the Boston Sports Institute Pool is this Sunday the 28th, starting at 3 o'clock. The wrestling team is now 11-4 on the season after the quad meet they held at NHS last Saturday, where they beat Mansfield 60-6 and Southeastern 51-0. They couldn't get wins against KP that Saturday or Holliston on Thursday, but they play host to Norton next week to face the Lancers Wednesday the 31st, starting at 7:15. And that is all I have for this sports update. I'm Ron Marshalsea, and Norwood News will be right back after this break.
Hi, my name is Connor Brosnan. I'm the Program Director for Impact Norwood. These PSAs are brought to us by SAMHSA. And if you ever need anything in terms of substance use prevention or mental health awareness, please reach out. Our website is www.impactnorwood.org.
We all make choices about alcohol. Kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye.
Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Have fun. Hey, remind me about that party again?
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations, and they want honest answers in everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path, because when you talk, they hear you.
The Board of Selectmen met Tuesday night at Town Hall. Middle School Building Committee Chair Alan Slater and Register of Deeds William O'Donnell appeared in front of the board delivering updates about the new middle school and the Registry of Deeds, respectively. And after unanimously approving all requests that included painting concrete blocks, washing cars at the lot, and using the town common, Director of Community Development Sarah Dixon and the Planning Board shared information and answered several questions regarding the new multifamily zoning laws for the new MBTA community zone.
Mr. Sad, you want to start off?
Well, buckle up. My question is this. We always hear about the other towns that we're compared to for our tax rate and anything else in town. We have 55% apartments in Norwood, and we have 3 T-stops. We're being severely punished. So my question is, is there any other town fighting this or not doing it as a mandate? Because I know we're gonna get caught with people with attics, basements, garages for additional apartments. So the state's gonna throw that on us next year. I mean, where do we stop in Norwood? And my question is, this proposed area, I know one's Windsor Gardens, and one, can you see what street it goes from? Is it Railroad Ave to Hoyle Street?
The Norwood Depot sub-district
This whole district, that's yelled out, proposed.
from Nahattan Street on Lennox, Nahattan.
Yep.
So that's the Rockland Trust Bank
Yep.
building. On that side of the street through Norwood Tire, the town's DPW property, the Lennox condominiums, and then it jogs over on Railroad and includes the crossings. That's the Norwood Depot sub-district, the Norwood Central sub-district, again, closer to the Norwood Central train station. That includes property from Avalon, and then continues on the railroad track side of Lennox, down to the bottom of Subway Hill where the train bridge is. It also includes a property on the other side of the tracks on East Hoyle across the street from the hospital.
So it's not 500, not half a mile from each train stop?
It is not. That would be 860 acres.
Okay.
And we only had to choose a minimum of 50 of those.
We're a high-density little town. We're not meeting that requirement yet? I mean, why can't we just say, no, we don't want to do this, we've got enough apartments?
Yeah, it's a valid question, and it's one that we heard, I think, fairly often from people who are participating. I think none of our current zoning complies with the bylaw, and that's less about the housing that's on the ground than what's in the zoning bylaw. Many properties are non-conforming, right? If you were to rebuild Norwood today, according to our standards, like our downtown would look completely different, South Norwood would look completely different. But that said, I actually don't feel that Norwood is punished in any way with this law. In fact, I think we enjoy an advantage coming into compliance with 3A in communities where there's no multifamily housing and there are no neighborhoods anywhere that allow for it. They're going to pass this zoning and there will be a tremendous opportunity in the market to create multifamily housing. In Norwood, we have multifamily housing, and we've strategically placed these districts in areas that have multifamily housing. So the market incentive to tear down Avalon and rebuild Avalon isn't there. Same thing with Norwood Crossings. That's constructed at a density that exceeds what's being proposed here. So there's no market incentive to take down the crossings and again, replace it with what?
And we've included those in these districts.
And we've included those in this district as a
Right.
way to kind of mitigate the potential impacts of this on actual construction activity afterwards. So I think we actually enjoy an edge there in that the resulting, development activity that occurs because of this zoning isn't going to represent like a fundamental shift in what our town looks like. It will in many others that haven't, to your point, taken on their fair share of multifamily housing.
Chairman of the board, Matt Lane, expressed his pleasure that the selectmen conducted their discussion with the decor that they did, with the topic as contentious as the MBTA zoning. The Board of Selectmen will meet again on February 13th.
School committee met this week, and the director of ELL, Lisa Bourgeois, and special education director, Lori Semino, appeared in front of the board to provide updates. Jim Hardy, field director of the Massachusetts School Committee Association, announced the 3 finalists for the superintendent position for the Norwood Public Schools.
In your packets, on the right-hand side, the first document is actually a memo from the search committee to you, and I'll just read it into the record. 25 candidates submitted packages for the position of superintendent of schools in Norwood. The Norwood Superintendent Search Committee reviewed all the application and after a series of preliminary interviews and discussion, voted to submit the following candidates to the school committee for consideration as the next superintendent. That was a unanimous vote, by the way. And listed in alphabetical order is Dr. John J. Bucky, formerly the superintendent in Marblehead Public Schools, and there's a brief narrative of Dr. Bucky. Timothy Luff, who's currently the Deputy Superintendent of Schools in Natick, and there's a brief bio for him. And Priya Tahilani, who is currently under contract as a superintendent of schools in Everett. All three candidates were unanimously selected by the search committee to move forward to you. I have contacted all three candidates. They are very much looking forward to this process, and as such, have come up with a schedule for the steps going forward. Each candidate's going to visit Norwood next Thursday, I should say, a week from tomorrow, February 1st. They will meet here at the Savage Center at 10:30, and then there'll be a sequence of 3 schools that they'll visit between 11 and 2 o'clock. One will go to one will go to the other, one will go to the other, and then they will rotate throughout the day. So for that period of time, there'll be 3 candidates visiting 3 different schools. And then at 2 o'clock, the names of the schools are, I know it's Coakley, Prescott, and Belch. Right, those are the 3 schools. And the original timeline we had to tweak because of the early dismissal of the elementary schools. So initially we were doing it kind of in the afternoon, but it makes no sense to visit a school that has no students in it. So I did contact the candidates, and they were very much agreeable to the change to earlier. Then there'll be a break. Candidates could probably go somewhere in Norwood, get something to eat. And then at 4 o'clock, all candidates will report to the high school. And we have the high school principal has graciously set up 3 different meeting spaces within the high school. And one meeting space will have students, one meeting space will have parents and residents, and another meeting space will have employees. And each candidate will rotate around. They'll spend 25 minutes in each session, 5 minutes in between sessions, and they'll the people will stay in the same place. The candidates will rotate through to them. So all 3 groups will see all 3 candidates over the span of 2 hours or so.
Best of luck to the 3 finalists for the superintendent.
Yes, no, absolutely. Good luck. And speaking of schools, Norwood author and historian Patty Fanning and Jack Tolman are collaborating on short videos that will be shared with Norwood school teachers. Fanning researches the script and Tolman brings it to life by creating a video. This week we'll feature a video that highlights Frederick Cleveland, the namesake of the Cleveland School.
Frederick Albert Cleveland was born and raised on a farm in Sterling, Illinois. Before he went to college, he worked in a Wisconsin logging camp. Cleveland was a serious student who studied at DePaul University, the University of Chicago, and University of Pennsylvania. He earned degrees in law and economics. From 1900 to 1908, he taught at the University of Pennsylvania and New York University. He married Jessica Lindsay in 1902. They had one son, Lindsay Cleveland. Beginning in 1908, Cleveland was appointed to the committees in New York and Pennsylvania about budgets and finances. During World War I, he served in Washington, D.C., where he met George Willett of Norwood. Following the war, Cleveland taught at Boston University and moved to Norwood. He was a member of Norwood's school committee from 1921 to 1930 and worked to bring the Henry O. Peabody School for Girls, now part of the Blue Hills Regional Technical High School in Canton, to Norwood. Cleveland was the author of several books on finance, citizenship, and local government. Between 1929 and 1935, he spent time in China as an advisor to the Chinese government, and he received an award for his work there. By himself, he transformed an empty lot behind his home on Winter Street into the playground on Bond Street. He cut down overgrown brushes and trees, dug out rocks, and raked out rubbish. He then planted new trees, shrubs, and grass, and created the gentle hill at the Walpole Street end of the park. Frederick A. Cleveland retired from Boston University in 1939, but continued to live in Norwood and worked for improvements to Norwood schools. He died on January 27, 1946. Cleveland Park on Bond Street was dedicated to his memory after his death. The Frederick A. Cleveland Elementary School opened in January of 1959, and it was dedicated on February 1st, 1959.
Well, that's all for Norwood News. To stay up to date with Norwood Community Media, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
We're going to leave you with a list of upcoming events being covered by Norwood Community Media. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend.
Take care, everybody.